Hey,
So what's up with your week?
I had a week of jumping into a couple different things,
I
and
saw.
I got a big flavor for some indies. One tiny little indie game from
Hmm?
a little known developer, a little game called Zenless Zone Zero. Decided to.
Oh, do you mean like that company that's building the new type of nuclear reactor?
Are they building a second sun? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, no, they're behind that.
Cool, cool, cool. Yeah. Um,
The tests went well.
okay, that's good. That's good. We need to be careful with that too because, well, no, it like my family WhatsApp chat sent around a video of the China is building a second sun video, and it's this thing of like a light ball launching into the sky and people filming it, and you're just like,
That's so good.
ah!
That's so
I hate it.
good.
I
You're
hate
gonna.
like could no one will no one hit Google for a
This
second?
is where global warming's coming
Not
from. The
even
second sun made by
not
China.
even Snopesing it. I don't even ask for Snopes anymore. Just can you just hit Google for a second? Anyways,
No.
to which there's a very very boring article of a very pretty impressive looking machine that is the actual thing that
It's
they're
a fusion
talking about.
reactor. Like
Exactly.
an actual fusion
But
reactor.
that's not what you're gonna share on fucking Black WhatsApp. You're gonna share
Yeah.
you're gonna share the here's what they're up to. And it's a literal like sky bomb launching into the air that looks like it came out of a fucking Protoss device. And then everyone's like going, whoa, and they're like, China's at this level now. What are we doing over here?
Did you know that your roles on Ellen the Shark Maid actually help out the future of energy independence?
Okay, all right, now we're talking. Let's get there. So what you're saying is if I wail for my Butler wolf, it's
Sorry,
actually
you can't you can't wail for your Butler wolf. You can only currently really wail for your Shark Girl.
but whaling, you can whale for anything if you try hard enough.
Oh, you have to. Okay, you know what? Let's just go for the start of why you want Lycaon,
Lichen? Like a lycanthrope?
Lycan. I
Like
want
a
to say it's just like, but
lycanthropy?
the sexy wolf man with the BDSM shit.
Yeah, he's Beowulfing.
Yeah, he's got the kicks.
He's got a lunar phase and he does charged fucking strings in the middle of his kick 13 setup.
Well, you can either get really lucky on the standard banner, or you can roll 300 fucking times.
And then when you whirl 300 times, I've learned that you only get to do that once ever in your lifetime, and then you have
Well,
to
yeah, because
literally end it all.
so the main reasoning behind that, Wooly, is that people don't spend any real money on the standard banner because you get rolls for free on the standard banner. Like they give those out on every event and whatnot.
Rolling on limited banners. I'm just like, these are words that now have to mean something that
Yeah,
didn't.
because you know what I mean now. And you probably talked to Mom over the past week, and she probably explained half this shit to you.
Dude, I know that, gacha is like, it's always been rough, and there's been that we've talked about over the years how like crazy it's gotten and all that and so on. And like in the whole bit where it's like, okay, people are considering what Hoyo's doing like not on the worst end of the spectrum of like how bad that gets, it still is kind of jarring because at some point in like my estimation, I was like, okay, there is likely a system in place, and I kind of when I just vaguely assumed how bad it was, I more or less thought the cost of a full disc game for getting the character you want is probably what they're going with these days, So it was very much to my surprise to see that it was way more than that for way less control. I thought that the whaling would be like spending 80 to 90 on getting the one character you give a fuck about, and then if you really want to get them all and go nuts, keep spending that money and so on.
Okay.
You know?
So What is your current understanding of gacha banners as of the MiHoYo system?
Well, now looking at it and breaking it down and going into the actual web page that pops up, I can see that it's like, okay, there is always a level of multiple currencies for the sake of busy work and, little tweaks and upgrades and obfuscation of your spending, because we know that, like, besides the fact that, like, leveling and busy work and little things like that can keep you occupied and interested, there's also studies that show you that if you convert money into points, then a points or a ball system is like, you don't actually associate the value. So spending 125 points, you don't think of that as spending $1 or whatever. My whole thing is like, okay, so you have the limited banner, which is this new character and or this characters who we're giving you a chance at getting, and if you roll an S in your like slot machine pull, then there's a 50-50 shot of that S being this main character.
And a 50-50 shot of being any other S.
Exactly. And then same for the A characters they show you. And then that's why you want to roll on that banner, aka pull the slot machine while in this flavor.
Right.
Then there's a second page which is just for upgrades of if you want to get limited spheres, which are just for
don't do that.
Well, that's I mean, I'm like,
that's for the deep sickness.
Yeah, I'm like, what kind of creatures from the depths
that is for the deep sickness?
What type of fish creatures are rising up from the scary depths and pulling their fucking slot machine pulls on the backpack to tweak your characters? That's insane.
Those people are highly ill. Don't fuck with that. Don't do it.
Yeah, we're not looking. We're not even looking at that. And then lastly, there's the third banner, which is the regular slot machine, which is if an S pops up, it's going to just apply the regular rates to all S's and to all A's characters.
All non-limited S's.
Oh, so the ones that are not in the limited banner. Okay.
Yes. Like when you click on it and go to details, it'll show you all the ones you could pick at 300.
Yes.
Those are the ones that are currently in there.
And then when you go to see the actual numbers, which I don't know if China and Australia forcing this has led to other it's like to these games like volunteering the information or not, but you click on it and it says you have a 0.6% chance.
Well, the main thing is that China's the biggest market for this. So if you want it to exist in China, you have to put it somewhere. Yeah. And then if you're going to put it somewhere else, but you hide it in Europe, for example, but you can still see the numbers on the Chinese version. So
people are just going to go there. Yeah. So is it just we were trying to hide it wherever we legally could, but now we give up because people are going to find out anyway?
We were talking about what the fuck was it? Right. Maple Story a couple weeks ago, where the shit was 0.
So I just assume that when you're really trying to get your nickel and diming everybody in the worst possible way, you're going to also be like, yeah, well, if you want to go work for it, then log into a Chinese server and get those numbers. We're not going to show you the percentages, is my assumption. But turns out they do.
So here's so basically you're like, I want Wolfman. I want the Wolfman now. Yes?
Yeah.
So Wolfman's part of the standard banner, which means you will eventually be able to get him guaranteed. But who'd you get for your guaranteed pity on your standard?
Okay. So when you say guaranteed, are you talking about spending your 300?
All right. So we're going to roll all the way back. Okay. So you roll on the thing, and then you have a soft pity and a real pity. Okay. So... And the standard banner has its own beginner pity.
Zenless,
right?
aka no chill.
So the beginner pity is, I think the standard is like within 50 polls, you're guaranteed to be
to get an S rank character.
To get an S rank, which is faster than normal.
Okay.
And I'm being told you got Soldier 11.
I got
right.
Is Anton an S rank? Is
Pile
Bunker
Anton's A.
Pile Bunker Kamina? Okay, no. All right.
Yeah. No, you got the girl with the flame blade. That
that has a X-Act and
right.
Yeah.
So after you do that, you engage in what's called the soft pity, which is when you hit 70 rolls, the percentage chance of getting an S from 70 to 80 is increased.
Okay, so pause. 0 to 50. You are going to have a soft pity that is We
No,
get
that's a guarantee. That's a hard pity for the standard start roll when you start playing the game only.
okay. So the first 50, you're going to get an S rank character,
Yeah.
and you're
And they also give you 50 rolls for free for starting the game, so you're going to get them within like 3 days. No, like guaranteed.
okay, and that is because in the worst case scenario, you would get an S rank backpack.
No, you would get an S rank backpack maybe, but you get to 70 and then you start soft pitying all the way till 90, at which point you get an S. Though the standard one can give you an S rank backpack, which feels bad, man.
Boy, okay, all right,
Right.
So then you hit that, then you go into the soft pity, which is
70.
okay. And what does soft
And then-
pity mean in this?
Soft pity means that every roll from I think 73 to 90 is a higher chance of getting an S. So like it's points
instead of 0.6.
It's like 1%, and then it's like a 1.5 or something like that.
Okay, okay. Soft pity.
Right.
Sure. Okay.
The point is,
Boy.
70 to 90 is your soft pity. That's all you gotta. And then once you hit 90, it's your hard pity, and that works for limited and standard, which is you're definitely going to get an S, but it either will be the character on the box or any other. And there's a second hard pity on the limited banners. So say, Wooly, you wailed super hard and you rolled 90 times on Ellen right now, and it took till 90 for you to get her, right? It happened on the hard pity, right? Except you didn't get her. You got Wolfman instead, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means the next time the game gives you an S on the limited banner, it will have to be the character that is on the limited banner.
Because you haven't gotten her yet, and
because you didn't get the one on the limited banner last time.
okay.
So every dice roll is 1-ish%. And then when you get at 70, it's a little bit bigger. When you get at 90, it's 50-50.
I have never seen so much effort put towards breaking down something that you have zero control over.
Oh.
like it's like understanding it is somehow going to affect the outcome, even though it completely fucking doesn't.
So
It's just
that's the trick, because gacha freaks
oh my god,
have figured out how to assert control.
by
there are
picking the
two
right
ways-
banners.
What's that?
By choosing between one banner or the other.
So the two forms of control are for your first pity that's from the standard banner that you're always going to give up. What you can do is you can salt your email. You can enter your email as your email +1, your email +2, your email +3, and roll new accounts until you get the one that you wanted, which is horribly time consuming, and I would not recommend it. Right?
Man, I did that. We did that once when we were as kids, when there was a Monopoly 7-Up McDonald's thing, and it was like you get a free reward piece after you sign up for this email, and then there was a service where you could go in and create the email after the winning one. So you would just go down the number and then be like, okay, whatever, this email, this number, bam, this one wins a free Big Mac. All right, now go create the email account to receive it after the fact. And my brother won a Discman like that. So yeah, that happened once. It's horrible. Anyway, go on.
So the second way to control it is the way that most gacha players control it, which is you go to the website where people data mine the game to determine what characters are coming like 6 months in advance, and then just save all the currency you naturally acquire to blow a maximum of 180 rolls on the character that you really want.
Yeah. And
So, for example, there is a little fox girl that has Virgil's moveset that you meet in the story. She's probably like 4 months away. If you just didn't roll at all until she showed up, you would definitely have enough rolls to guarantee her getting onto your roster.
when she hits the limited banner.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that it's so weird to kind of see that, like, another aspect of this is essentially, again, saving up to get the thing you want. That was always an understanding that I had of what you could do in these games to somewhat be like, I'm just going to not play this rolling game and wait for my thing. But
Mhm.
the fact that 300 pick your own special bonus
Yeah.
aspect only happens once is really nuts to me, because it's like, I guess that saving up thing still has to be within the time frame that banner is available. If you ever
Well,
choose to or want to get something that's not on that banner, you only get once in your lifetime to ever do that.
all standards forever. It's never going to leave.
But you get one.
Yeah, you get one guaranteed. The reason for that is because rolling on the standard banner, you get like they literally send you in the mail, or every event will just give you standard banner rewards. So you will naturally accrue that over a year or 2 years, right? So after about 2 years of just using exclusively free rolls on the standard banner, the game goes, okay, fine. You roll 300 times, you didn't get the one you wanted, so you can grab Wolfman. The reason why, that whole system is a pity, because let's say you rolled on what's the one coming up, Jane Doe, the mouse girl coming up, and you lost the 50-50 and got Lycan, right? That means when you do eventually hit 300 on your standard banner, you would probably not want to choose Lycan again. You would want to choose one of the other S's that you never ended up getting in the time it took you to get there while rolling.
But if you ever were to be like, I stopped playing this game and I came back to it and I missed like 3 or 4 characters that
you can never stop playing.
Yeah. That's it. If you missed a couple banners and you're like, oh, I might want it to, like, there was a 2B banner or something, right? You missed that one. You come back to the game after that's gone. You have to then go and spend the one in a lifetime 300 to select
They will
them.
rerun characters, but they don't rerun characters at the rate that they came out.
Oh, they do. They put the same characters back on the banner.
Yeah. So
sometimes.
if you were like, oh, I fucking missed it.
Oh, well, now you gotta wait. I see.
Then you just hold that shit in reserve for when they come back.
That's how they do it. Okay. Anyway, so doing some quick maths, I was able to, at the end of the second stream, conclude that it cost about $500 to buy the character you wanted one time.
Well, the core of it genuinely is that you can't. You have to not do that. you literally. Like, you have to let go. Like,
it was $500 to buy.
You must let go.
Not even the film reels, the black and white film reels, but to buy the black and white screens to convert into film reels. Because one step more of obfuscation makes it easier to
the equivalent that I can bring up in my mind is it'll cost this amount of money to win at the casino at the game of my choice, instead of just playing every game equally
and then seeing what happens.
Right.
Yeah.
I only want to win on this slot machine.
Yeah. That was
but actually, don't listen to me, because I got Lycan.
Sure.
So, like, I'm like, oh yeah, the system works.
It's great. Yeah, no, for sure. Did you want it? Did you get or want Anton?
Yeah.
Okay. Well then, yeah. Okay, there you go.
So no, hey, let me tell you. Okay, I'm not a good example here, because I'm playing Alan Wake, and I'm like, people are like, play Zenless. I'm like, guys, I'm not going to play Zenless unless I can roll on stream, and I'm not allowed. My wife says I can't roll on stream unless you guys send in donation dollars specific to the amount. And then people send in the amounts, and then I rolled it. Okay. And then I got Ellen and Anton and Sukaku and Lycan and etc.
There was that moment, and I decided to instead go and calculate the maths on it.
Oh, by the way, I've been told that you have $30 sitting in your pocket that is explicitly intended for stream rolls.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. So I got that, and I was like, I hope it's okay that I didn't do this, but
you'll have to do it eventually.
I will. I will. If okay, well, let's.
That's them's the rules.
Okay, well, we'll find out what Queequeg has to say.
You have to. Oh, he spoke to me. He said pull it. He said, "Remind Woolie he owes me $30 of polls."
Okay, all right, I see. And it's just, you know that it's not gonna be the fucking Wolf Butler. It's gonna be some children with weapons.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the fucking.
A lot of kids on
it's
this
gonna be the little
roster.
girls. That's the thing. That's the
Why
problem.
so many?
Well, you know why.
I do. I'm like sitting there rolling, and I'm like, man, I really hope I don't get Nekomata, because that character's gonna go right in the garbage.
When you're trying to shotgun, like you know, when you get to the second arc of a new manga and it's the tournament time, and it's time for a bunch of characters to walk on screen, and you're like, oh yeah, there they are. Okay, here we go. Pick your favorite, right? Or even when the voices kicked in of like the other lockbox AIs, right? Or the whatever, the sinister figures. And I was like, oh, let me guess. There's a silhouette of like a big buff one, a skinny one, a small freakish one, and then a girl. Yeah. And it's like, oh, yeah, is that exactly what that group is? Oh, okay. You know. So anyway, you get your spread. But yeah, you know, as you scroll down that list, it gets pretty concentrated. Towards a certain type, I suppose, you know. But hey, we got our bear, and
oh, he's free, by the way.
He's part of the. You get him for free. If
he's guaranteed.
Yeah, that's
cool. I'm thrilled because I think he's cool as fuck.
What's the distro like in Genshin? Is little something for everyone, quote unquote.
No, Genshin's for like for twink fans and Fujos.
Okay. Well. Yeah, it was otherwise. I was like, you know what, this is all right. I was the actual action is like it's fine. I think a lot of folks were expecting me to like grade it on a DMC scale, to which I'm
ridiculous.
That's not what this is doing, and that's not what I think I'm going to do here. But having discussed it a little bit last week and just setting expectations accordingly, I'm like, yeah, what this is doing is fine, in that it's fun enough to. So I was talking about, you know, just doing your basic mashing X type thing, doing damage, and then occasionally paying attention to the defense. Well, switching between three characters, you know, keeps that interesting, and there's enough individuality with the basic combo system you get with the characters, which is not
people's kits have enough going on in them.
It's not particularly complex, right? You have a string and then a couple variants to it based on their system, but like they serve different roles, and I was like pleasantly surprised by the like, okay, well, here's your support, here's this person that's going to do some electric damage, here's another that's going to do fire, and then the interplay of the types of damage and the system and the tagging, and then defending, parrying versus dodging, and then occasionally using your super is enough. There's enough going on there, especially if the boss is doing cool stuff, that I'm like, yeah, this is a video game, this is fun.
One of the other things that I noticed, I haven't gotten there yet, but I saw people who are freaks really going hard on it. If you level those characters up enough, their kits get more to them. So Billy, the gunslinger, like, you know, you can hold the button down and he'll start shooting infinitely, and then you can roll out of the way to avoid attacks. Once you upgrade his kit to a certain point, those become real dodges and can trigger perfect dodge.
Okay, I see. Are you talking about the upgrades that come from getting him on pulls and then?
No. The get tokens to upgrade his specific skills.
Oh, right. Okay.
Upgrade system.
Yeah. So, and that of course is, I mean, I think I'm just averse to like any game that breaks down like upgrading and tweaks to that. It's not just the percentages, but even in this case, we're looking at percentages in like sometimes, you know, 15 to 20.
Oh, that is a dupe thing. Oh, never mind.
It was a dupe thing. Okay,
that is a dupe thing.
That
explains why he's on the banner next week. That's funny.
I had a moment of realization where it's like every button can be individually. You could add passives to, in addition to the dupe buffs, in addition to the sphere buffs, which the spheres on the character based on their class have their benefits, and then you level those up, and then you feed duplicates into the level up.
I had a really hard time understanding Sokaku. So did you get Sokaku?
I don't think I got him, but
So she's the little Oni girl, the little that's blue.
Yeah, little blue. Yeah.
So I got her like 6 times. but I had like such a hard time understanding her kit because she's a support and her kit is super, like, there's so much text. There's so much text on her support. Only for me to figure out eventually that is, if you tag her in and she does her fully powered flag attack that tags somebody else in, that person gets a massive buff for like 15 seconds.
Okay.
The way that I have it is I have my starter and then I stun them into Sukaku, who then stuns them again into Ellen, who then has this massive damage up, and she has the highest attack.
Yeah, and I imagine that like a lot of these small tweaks start to add up over time, and then you get something like whatever. You probably can get like a insanely strong character that melts the game or whatever if you go all in and spend all of your like electricity currency on the electric characters moves buffing, and then again, backpack stuff. It is I just, any game that is, even whether it's a free to play or full retail, any game that I guess goes down to that level of granularity it's more than I want in anything. And if you think I'm like, it's anyway, whatever. I just I hit there's an amount of that I hit that I'm like, I would rather this was much more straightforward in terms of how you.
Well, the problem is that it can't be, because you're only dealing with more buttons. So the complexity has to go somewhere so that there's actual depth here.
Yeah. And like it's some of the screens, like just even how they're laying things out as well, and as you're navigating through them, I'm like, this is also like, holy fuck. Like, I'm like,
I've got good news for you.
I think I'm like, I've played video games my whole life, and I'm like having these, like, I'm going cross-eyed trying to figure out where to look at what.
I have really good news for you, Wooly. It might take you a little bit of time to get used to the Zenless Zone Zero interface, but if you did get used to it, you could actually go and play Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail very easily, because they're exactly the same. Like, all the icons are in the same fucking location, and they just change the actual icons and the names of them in most cases.
Yeah, I get that feeling. I know is the case now, because like I'm coming at these things with fresh eyes and giving the impression I have of it, like taking it in for the first time in this way, to which what I'm hearing back is like, this has been standard for a while now. This is
for like 6-7 years.
You're just late to seeing something that has already been this way. And I'm like, okay, cool. I still think it's not great, but if there's a single thing that you can pop in there, and I guess like minimally, if you try, because I know that I have my way of going about things where I'm like, let me just not interface with the stuff I don't care about, to which some people go, you're gonna have to fucking interface with this stuff you don't care about regardless, you're gonna get forced to. If you jump in, do a quick mission, play with some characters you like, maybe spend some claimed pulls on getting something limited or whatever, and then
that you can totally play it like completely cash free.
Yeah, and I'm like the same experience with this game, I suppose, is attempting to just jump in and out and such in that way. You still have to deal with way too much downtime between the missions and fights as the story goes.
Mihoyo loves talking.
Boy do they. You still have to deal with, and then of course all that leveling up stuff is not talking about like passives like going to get cook food and so on, which is not dissimilar to like, I guess, running around the base in Monster Hunter World or so. But you got to deal with the fact that as well, that at least for the first chapter that I was playing, a lot of those environments were like, you're running around the same construction yard fighting, in like a 2 or 3 room little stretch or so, which this is where the mobile game element starts to kind of come into play a bit, where you're like, oh yeah, where you're not going to get a full stage.
Yeah, the game's also like huge on your phone already.
And I've seen people saying that this actually is very similar to how DMC Peak of Combat
apparently
goes. right? So having not actually even taken a look at that in terms of booting it up or whatever, like yeah, they're saying that there's a lot of similar cues to the scale, the size, and even how the game plays.
I have a strong feeling that the reason why there is so much dialogue and talking in these MiHoYo games is because when you finish that and you're doing like you're training for character upgrade stats or you're running Hollow Zero, there's nothing like there's no fucking dialogue or story consideration at all. It's just like I just ran fucking Hollow Zero like 6 times in a row yesterday.
Yeah, I guess so I haven't even done I haven't done that part, right? Because that's the other way to get a lot of pulls saved up is that little Hollow Zero. Is it the...
Well, like they're on the tutorial screen, you can see there's like 6 different things you can spend your battery on.
Oh yeah, battery. Right. The training mode, grinding, and yeah. True. The battery limited element. Well, at least the story doesn't require battery, so if you do
it doesn't
progress through that, then it's not going to be like, fuck you, you've played.
No, the stories require like probably just use your character upgrades on the team that you like.
I think, but yeah, like there's enough cool stuff here that I'm like, yeah, I do like the gameplay when it's happening, and I like when I get the ability to build a team and fuck around with their abilities and the synergy. That part is solid, and it's shallow, but it's fun, right? So I'm not gonna disparage any of that. I do know that the other hoops and things that I find unpleasant to jump through and stuff might be the kind of things that stop me from feeling the need to get pulled back to this on a regular basis.
Right.
If I can just boot up a regular action game elsewhere and just go through that normally and get, you know what I mean? Something more satisfying that doesn't have these extra hurdles, hoops, and stuff in the way. So that's the one thing is like, I don't know. Like, while this is fun, I don't know how this beats out possibly going over to an action game that isn't asking me to do a lot of these things. So, and I guess this is where falling in love with the character comes into play, or so, you know.
I thought about what we were talking about last week about the comparison, because you're comparing it right now. Like, you're sitting at home. Do I want to sit down and play Zenless, or would I want to just even go back to DMC5 or something else, right? And that is the most fair comparison ever. And then you start to argue internally about like, well, it's technically free versus $60 or $70.
How much
right?
bullshit are you allowed to get away with when a game's free?
So what I did is I played a fairly significant amount of the game on my phone over the past week.
Okay.
Most people that I know are using their phone to literally bang out a daily and then so that they, or run the battery so that they don't have
back and forth, right?
Right.
You played First Touch on console?
What's that?
You played First Touch on PC or on console?
PC.
Yeah, okay.
But PC and console are identical. But no, I went through like the Edge certifications on my phone for Hollow Zero. And my takeaway is that compared to everything else on my telephone, this is like from the future. It's ridiculous. It's like my phone gets hot as shit. My phone gets hot, so hot, the game told me to turn it down because they were worried about overheating.
You got the battery warning message?
Yeah, I got the battery warning when I turned it all the way up. My phone is brand new. This is a Galaxy S24. After playing it a bunch on my telephone, I was like, yeah, no, as a telephone game, this is incredible. If I'm stuck somewhere or I'm trapped and the baby's sleeping on my chest, right? This blows away everything else I could probably play on my phone until Balatro comes out.
Yeah, okay. So so by metric of the phone for competition, this is a go-to that you can.
It's a 10 out of 10. If on and like fuck spending anything, like the free version of this game is 10 out of 10 on your phone.
Yeah, I
On your PC, it's a 7 to 9, depending on your tolerance for that.
yeah.
And
I mean, I get
then it gets to live in that whole ecosystem.
it's such a weird new discussion to have, like okay, couldn't call, like, for it to be a 10 out of 10 in the context it has. It's also like, by also ignoring the bad parts in a way, and you're like, okay, so like, if you take another game that you do think is a perfect game, but then it has like shitty thing attached to it, like bad micro, like fucking
Yeah.
buying red orbs or Dragon's Dogma, anyway, it gets weird, because I'm like, the stuff that I don't like about the Zenless stuff, like gacha stuff, is gross, but
Mm-hmm.
like outside of even that, like stuff with the story and the pacing and passive tweaking and such is all just like, I still don't enjoy that part as much, right? I kind of
So I'm quite lucky is that I'm actually really digging the
the passive
kind of
tweaks.
the whole presentation.
Okay.
Um, like I actually really like it, and I really like the characterization. But to be fair, part of that is I like it in comparison to like, because I ran through that fucking gamut of mobile games a little while ago, right? And one of the things that really stood out to me, and it's MiHoYo's own fault because I was annoyed by this in their other games. So you pick Wise or Bell when you start the game. Which one did you pick, Wooly?
The girl.
You picked Bell. Okay. So I picked Wise, and this is a perfect example. So when you pick Aether or whatever the fuck the other one's name is, Illumine in Genshin, or you pick I don't even remember their names, Stella and something else in Honkai Star Rail. The other character dies and doesn't exist at all, or is part of the story but doesn't talk, and like just a non-factor. I'm very happy that Wise and Bell are both there and both talk and both interact with each other, and that it has just shifted over a perspective thing instead of the other one not existing at all. The goofy thing is that the one you want to talk the most is the one you shouldn't pick.
Mm-hmm.
If you want Bell to have more dialogue, you should pick Wise, and vice versa.
What's the significance of any of this? Is this just like guy trainer, girl trainer in Pokemon? Is it just
Yeah,
okay.
but they're characters this time around instead of being kind of nothing.
Okay.
Like, think of Astral Chain
Sure.
as an example.
All right, the twins. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And how it was kind of annoying as fuck how your twin didn't have a voice at all. That's usually how it is.
I was confused initially because, like, I was like, why are there two layers of character select going on here? Because it's framed as character select as opposed to like your profile, but when framed that way, that makes more sense, right? Okay. So that's kind of I suppose what it is, and I think to some degree that might apply to just me in anything I play, but there's lots of different ways you can. There's the pure fun experience of what a game can do when it's firing on all cylinders, right? In a set piece type moment with the gameplay engaging you, giving you full control and such. And then there's how you play with like breaking down the feeling of powering up your character over time. And there's a lot of ways to go about it. And, even if you're talking about like, not just like buying things and proud souls or whatever as your metric, but like things where you like have pickups that are temporary or duplicating and such. We talked about like Neo, for example, where it's like, oh yeah, all the armor stuff and all the weapon buffs and all that stuff is like, it's so overwhelming, right? And you kind of felt that like exhaustion from it. And I kind of was like, I definitely agree that I'm like, there's more to that than I'm willing to engage with. But then I was able to, I suppose, just kind of be like, well, I'll put it out of my mind for the most part and just hit the gameplay and keep running until I hit a wall of some kind and go like, I wonder if I should think about my weapon.
Yeah, so the wall for you would be at some point they level lock you, and then you would go, oh, I need to get... Like, so one of the things that it does that's quite nice is that say you go, because there's the character level, right? So you get Ambi to level 20, and then you go to hit, I would like to upgrade her to unlocked so that she could level from 20 to 30, for example. You click on that and it goes, you need to do this, and it lists the thing out you need to do. And if doing that is an available action with your place in the game, you can click a button and it will just bring you to that activity so you can do it. So
I did see that, yeah.
I wanted to upgrade because Lycan has like he's ice. I wanted to upgrade some of his shit. So I clicked on it and I didn't have enough ice bullshit. And so I just clicked bring me to where I get the ice bullshit. And then I clicked on it and it brought me to the training mode and set me up with the right enemies.
Right. And it is interesting too as well to have a game where like you, because you know how like there's games of like it's about the difficulties based on skill, and in some cases the difficulties based on time spent making yourself stronger. Like in this kind of game, you can just play until you get so strong that you melt everything, right? Like you don't have to hit that like fighting game level of, you know.
Well, the trick to it, so you know your Internaut level, which is maybe the worst name for anything ever.
Pretty bad, pretty not good.
Oh my god,
horrific. Don't do it.
Also, did you notice when you read the subtitles that it used to be just called the Proxy Network, but then the subtitles at some point changed it to the Internaut?
Ah, I see. Interesting.
Because they say the Proxy Network, but it's written Internaut. Awful. Oh my god. Anyway, when you hit certain thresholds, you can pass a certification that will unlock more shit for you, but it will also raise the global difficulty of literally every single thing in the game by an order of magnitude.
Yeah, and I could feel that like when I hit some of those characters, some of those bosses and certain enemy types that were like, oh, this requires more of your attention. Like the guy that was bobbing and weaving and Dempsey rolling a bit was like, you have less time to dodge and parry his attacks than you do other a bit earlier enemies. So I can see that there's going to be these jumps in difficulty that are going to be like, nah, man, you got to get way better, or play a lot and get yourself a lot stronger so that you can still fuck up, but when you do hit, it hits that much harder and you don't have to fight the enemy for as long.
The other thing is that like with my experience with Genshin and Honkai is they will eventually, once your onboarding is completely finished, allow you to do optional shit that is like just legitimately very difficult. And some of that will be statistical and some of that won't be, but like the difference between fighting a boss that has like decently fast attacks that will kill you outright is, you know, still pretty difficult, especially after you just played Elden Ring.
A limited optional stuff is in like
when I was playing Honkai, I'm like stuck halfway through the simulated universe. The simulated universe scales upwards a lot. And that would be the Hollow Zero equivalent in this game, where it's their roguelike mode that you would do for weekly rewards.
Okay. And I guess, you know, again, while very much enjoying what's going on here and seeing like these archetypes that you're familiar with, and, you know, we've been staring at this type of industry and type of media for long enough that like you're like, I see everything about I see everything about fucking Pile Bunker Kamina, and I'm like, yeah, love that. That's great. It's a remix of the things that you already are familiar with, but you know the archetype, and he literally fucking says, he calls you Kyodai and all that. I'm like, cool, you know what you're working with. When a lot of the stuff that does bug me in a game is there, but I think the overall like thing hooks me. I feel like I can put up with a lot more, right? And I think that applies to like a lot of people. Like if you're pulled in like by not just the character but like everything else happening, I'll be like drawn back towards it in a way. So in this case, characters can appeal in with uniquely in that way, and I think as well the style being, you know, from the initial trailers, all that jet set like fucking amazing design and element to it, I found really rad. But it like it didn't grab me in the same way that like something out of nowhere that I felt like attached to very quickly was like
Mhm.
Hi-Fi Rush and its characters.
Right.
They were very fun, charming, awesome. Just
Well, I mean, MiHoYo has like an incredible, like within that, because you have like Zelda shit, you have space RPG, and now you have like Jet Set style hip hop like action game. It's all like overwhelmingly MiHoYo. Like that it is a really violently and Honkai Impact Third.
there's a
It
flavor
is
to
their
all of those
style.
things. Yeah.
It is their house style.
And I think that house style probably has a limited appeal to me no matter what.
Yeah, I'm fucked because I'm crazy about MiHoYo's like particular aesthetic.
Okay, interesting.
I fucking love it.
And I think that's a same limiter that is in place for Grand Blue for me as well. I think I kind of had a discussion about this when I was playing Grand Blue, where I was like, okay, there's stuff here I can like. There's characters that I like,
Really hooked me the same way. Yeah.
but there's a level of just overall something. There's an intangible element to the world, and it's the setting and the lightness and the seriousness and how it handles these moments. And when someone comes out and do something really badass, and it's those big high tension moments of like this is supposed to be your equivalent of the things that I freak out about and have popped off with for years now. And I'll see those pop off moments and be like, oh, that was pretty cool, that was sick, okay. But I'm not like fully grabbed and pulled in, and I think if I don't have that, there's gonna be something that just kind of is in the way of me wanting to think about this game and turn it back on and go to it. Because that can make up for, like I said, like the feeling of the shit I don't like, and that can also make up for gameplay being less than what I'm looking for in some cases, you know. And yeah, I think I brought up Hi-Fi as a rush as an example of a game that, like, very quickly within a couple of hours, I was like, I love the world and characters and setting here, and I want more of it, you know. And then
Yeah, it's this super strange thing where I'm sitting here and in my mind you're describing it and comparing it to Hi-Fi Rush, and my part of my head goes, that's not really a fair comparison. And then the other part goes, no, it is a fair comparison. No, wait, it's not. And then I'm realizing what the issue is that the comparison has to be compared to like
something
people
Japanese
at different price points.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say like the developer.
person who is free to playing Zenless entirely will never spend a dime. Like, comparing that to Hi-Fi Rush, in which they would have to spend money, is ridiculous.
But it's not even that. I just mean like the characters talking to each other, the types of jokes they're making, the things happening with the bits that are funny and the bits that are serious and actiony. You know, all of that. The appeal of the setting, I suppose.
You know what the worst part is I'm like, the handcrafted multi-year development cycle for an absolutely perfect gem versus the multi-year dev cycle for a live service game that's meant to get as much value out of its assets as possible. Yes, Hi-Fi Rush is absolutely much like cleaner, better, more interesting, better written. They probably redid a bunch of those scenes a bunch of times. And that company's bankrupt.
Right.
That company's gone.
Right. And
because it didn't pull in your fucking banner dollars.
Now, if this is the flavor that you get from everything Hoyo related, then I'm like, okay, I'll take that for what it is. I can even say that what the fuck is it? Fucking titty company.
Titty company, that could describe multiple companies. That could be Tecmo Koei.
Currently.
Current titty company.
Nikkei Stellar Blade. Nikkei Stellar Blade.
Nikkei Stellar Blade. Yeah, okay, there it is.
Shift Up.
Yeah, Nikkei just paid for Stellar Blade.
Yeah. Titties. There was a moment in that like Nikkei intro with the fucking gun and shit where I was like, oh, whoa, yo, okay, cool, huh, interesting, you know. And there was a little moment of like an eyebrow raise to like a narrative thing that's not going to matter at all, and you know, and it's like easily could just not be there because you're like, I'm here for fucking cover shooter jiggling butts and whatever
Yeah.
waifus, But when something like that does happen, I'm like, oh, okay, interesting, And this is not in any way like we know how fucking dumb and the story in Bayo and in DMC is and all that shit, and I mean, fucking Raiden.
The story in DMC is good, god damn it.
But like the thing is like as the things that don't make sense, there's still an element of like I'm pulled in to the things that are there that I like, and there's a sufficient amount of them, and in the same way that you're like, what the fuck is Raiden talking about for half of Revengeance? But then you're like, no, but him and Armstrong fucking having this insane political battle at the end is amazing, right? It's god tier dialogue.
Except they're not. That's the whole point. It's just like, you're just a stupid asshole. All the things you're saying don't mean anything.
It's great. And that's a deep, rich enjoyment of those cutscenes. That is not me parrying and doing an awesome slice. It's a thorough enjoyment happening. That's not me watching a badass action cutscene either. It's just, I look at them go. They're yucking it up,
I'll tell you one thing that I would really appreciate from MiHoYo's stories. They don't believe in setting up their setting like at all. Like, you show up and they're like, you just know the whole setting. I'm like, I don't. What is a hollow? What is it? What is a hollow? What the fuck is it?
There's so many jargon words.
I don't know.
There's so many jargon words. It's crazy. Yeah. I get like, I feel like jumping, like there's some sci-fi anime where you jump in and you just get dropped into the fucking lexicon and you're like, keep the fuck up. These words are not going to be in yellow and they will be on the test. But anyway, I think anyway, I'm not sure how much of that is generational or not, but that's kind of where it is for me, is like, what I'm coming back for is going to be the character with the cool moveset and I think some of the synergy, But I do like what's going on there, and I can see this game as well over time with as it gets bloated up with features and crazy shit. Like,
Honkai Star Rail is so bloated up with shit. After a year, it's fucking intimidating. It's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. This is the launch, and like everything I'm talking about now, I can see coming back to this and being like, yo, here's 3 characters you love that you can then go into the new Bloody Palace mode and just go nuts. And I'll be like, oh, okay, cool.
One of the things that is crazy about Zenless's super long tutorial is that there is a major system mechanic that is left like unused until you hit fucking rank 30, and that is going on fucking dates with every single character in the game.
Oh man, there's fucking confidant,
including
there's S-Links, huh?
So you know how there's fucking there's times of day, like morning, afternoon, whatever. Somebody yesterday was posted on the Reddit that if you fuck up and don't go, they send you like passive aggressive emails to your phone about how you didn't show up and how they waited around for you.
Do you have to go during real time?
You have to. No, it's the in-game like
okay, okay, all right.
Like, so if you set up I think it was somebody set up an afternoon date with Ben the Bear.
Okay.
And they did a mission instead, and like he sent this email going like, oh, hey, I tried to, I waited around, you weren't there, and I didn't know what to do, and I took work off for this, but okay.
That's fun. And then you can make them work at your video store to get your passives.
Yeah, man.
That's great. Cool. Anyway, yeah, I know it's anyway, anyone that loves this and is hooked in is not going to want to hear me going on about how I'm not, but regardless, I fucking I can see myself, like, I'm not going to go, and I can probably see myself waiting until like the wolf is on the. Is the wolf ever going to be on the banner? I don't know.
Never.
Okay.
Never. The people in the standard banner will go live in the standard banner forever.
Okay. Then I can see myself booting.
So the only way for you to guarantee Wolfman is for you to play the game every day for the next 600-ish days.
I guess that's going to be that then. We'll see. We'll see.
Or assault your emails. Before we leave, I should mention there's your whale. There's your, I don't know what the free to play people are called. What's the fish?
There's
equivalent?
dolphins.
Yeah, I know. I was about to talk about dolphins, but what's the people who just don't
Minnows?
spend a dime on it? Minnows is minnow way. The dolphin way that the way that it maths out in the MiHoYo games is like they've calculated it so perfectly, right? So it costs 160 of your fake ass currency to do a roll, right? And if you do your dailies, you get 60, right? And dailies in this game take literally like 40 seconds. It's really literally just they want you to open up the app like once on your phone, right?
Okay,
so,
sorry. When you say dailies, because I had another moment of, are you? Excuse me. There's daily stuff that is under a certain banner, but you're talking.
That it's literally called engagement.
Okay. Yes. Okay. That one. And you schedule the tasks. Go take a picture of a cat.
Go take a picture of a cat.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
So your errands tab, like it's literally go scratch your ticket, take a photo, have a coffee.
Because the thing called dailies was not actually the dailies.
Yeah,
Why I bring that up.
Know.
So just
your
get off my back. All right, go.
So that gives you 60 of your fake ass premium bullshit, right?
Yeah.
If you grab the daily login thing, which is about, I think for Americans it's $5. I think for Canadians it's $6.50 a month for 30 days. That gives you 90 every day that you log in, right? Which brings out to 150 a day, which is 10 less than a poll, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then the idea is that if you played the game at all, you would get an achievement and you get up to 160. Okay. So let's say if you dolphined out and bought that daily battle thing, whatever,
battle pass.
daily login bonus. Sorry, no, the daily login bonus.
Not the battle pass. Okay.
Not the battle pass. You would get 1 poll a day, right? Well, their patch cycle is exact. It is always 6 weeks. Always. To the day. So 6 times 7 is equal to 42, right?
Mm-hmm.
42 times 160, blah, 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 is... So basically, the ideal is that over the course of a banner, you have 42 plus 42 would be 84. You would essentially get almost to the way to a 90 guaranteed pull. But the thing is that you would have to decide, do you want the one in the beginning of the patch or the second half of the patch?
Okay. So there's a baked in, if you keep up and play it every day, you will
patch you'll be able to get one of the 2 S-rank characters.
Right. The battle pass that kind of pays for itself, or the self-sustaining economy that is your time.
And the months that you go super hard on it and you totally max out the pass, then spend your money on the pass because then you get all the rewards. But don't get it at the beginning of the month. You'd be stupid as fuck if you got it at the beginning of the month, because maybe you get busy. Maybe you don't know what you're doing. But on the month that you just like, oh yeah, I just played a lot of Zenless this week and got like 89 on the pass without even thinking about it.
Okay, interesting. When I think about how I played this versus how I played like something like Teppen, for example, as well, I think another thing besides the like, oh, I like these JPEGs and I care about them, right? Besides that element, I think it's also the fact that Teppen was a PvP thing, and I think a PvP style mobile game is also likely to pull me a bit further along. So the
PvP style mobile game with a card is like the grossest, most intense gacha ever, because the ability to just have fucking character strength and card strength just increase over time,
and the
forever,
the retiring of old decks and all that insane bullshit. But all this to say that when it comes to the previous Hoyo stuff, it's always just PvE and new PvE missions coming out over time. I don't know of any
PvP thing at all in any of them.
Okay, that's the standard fare of what I'm assuming is going on. And then there's little arcade games where you can connect to other players and stuff.
I believe so. Oh, there is a co-op arcade game in fucking Zenless, which is I didn't expect. It's Snake.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like, what the fuck?
because
Um,
you know, as it turns out now, like you, I think gacha should probably be like a one of two words describing the type of game,
yeah.
because you know, if it like, because
Genre, tone,
sure, yes,
space RPG, hip hop, action, whatever.
because not every gacha game involves you dodging, comboing, and you know,
Yeah.
supering or whatever, right? So
I'd like to actually respond to somebody in the chat, if that's all right. Somebody said that they're extraordinarily bored by gacha conversations that we have on the podcast because we invariably get like stuck in the mud of describing how roles work and how that like all the economic systems work. I think it's like talking about the way the economics of a gacha game works is the most interesting thing about any of them, but also it would be irresponsible of us to sit here and talk about Zenless and pretend that money doesn't enter into the game at any point.
It is also incredibly fascinating to watch, like, how like the things we're talking about, which are video games are starting to shift towards for you know, in this decade, which are like a free to play game which you give more leeway to do bullshit, but how much bullshit is too much, you know, is a weird thing to have to navigate, and I think we're kind of seeing it play out. And I also know that if we were not recording, if we were having these conversations back in college right now, it would be going the same way.
Oh yeah, totally.
Because I would be so interested in just like, wow, these things that don't work on me necessarily, or that I'm not like feeling drawn towards, but are the main appeal here. I want to understand how they work. I want to crack this open.
Well,
and
the other
figure
thing is
out.
If we were back in college, this conversation would go slightly differently because someone in our immediate vicinity would be like an absolute fucking fiend,
hyper whale,
and just like be like, no, you don't understand, and it's like, oh, okay.
But I would be so interested in breaking down how these things plan their strategy and what exactly is happening, because whenever these things do work and they work well, and again, they had two successful games before this to then put this one out there.
Oh, they had
right.
They had Honkai Impact Third too. Like, we don't talk about it because we became aware when Genshin showed up.
Impact Third,
and they had a
Genshin,
game before
and
that
Star
apparently,
right?
They had one before Honkai Impact Third, which was apparently like just straight dog water, just bad.
I see. Okay. But I like looking at this is always an interesting frame of reference, because when we see parts of this picked up and dropped into the things you are familiar with, right? When Mario has a battle pass in it,
yeah.
You're gonna want to know why, and you're gonna want to have some reference points to figure out where the fuck we are in time that this new Mario game has a battle pass, right?
It's kind of nuclear scientists.
So yeah, I think that's.
By the way, they're not actually building the reactor; they're just funding
great
people who do science crap with nuclear fission, fusion.
Now, so yeah, that's the Zenless experience.
That game's way better on the phone. So okay, that game's way worse on my phone because it's actually like, I don't know if you've played any of the action stuff, because I was like smoking all the action
in Greece.
sections.
In Greece, I did the first couple parts. Yeah.
But when you play any of the stuff on your phone, it's way harder. It's way harder.
And just for reference,
with the touch buttons.
What's your daily commitment been so far?
Maybe a total of half hour.
Okay.
But that's not spread evenly.
Okay. Got it.
That's spread between logging in and busting out the training mode battery in like 5 minutes, 4 days a week, 5 days a week.
Okay.
And then like one night I stayed up and did like the Hollow Zero shit and of some of the story.
Okay. All right,
So
cool.
it's not like 30 minutes a day. It's like there one time I sat down and played it for 4 hours, and the other days I hopped on and played it for 10 minutes.
Okay. Um, Interesting. So I'm yeah, it's I'm curious about that because so I jumped back on just once to see if the banner updated or something because I thought I saw someone say something about Butler Wolf being on the banner and I went to check
Nah, man,
and it
he's
wasn't. I
gonna
was like,
live on
okay.
that standard forever.
So then that was that.